This is Ryan J. with Conservative Corner Entertainment 2. Today, we have a special guest with us, Jason Miller of We the People of Ohio, Canton. We're here to discuss the college campus chaos happening all across the United States right now. There are over 8,000 protests in over 800 cities and college campuses across the United States right now. Some call them protests. I call it terrorism. Jason Miller,
that's right.
How are you?
Ryan, I'm doing great, man. I'm stoked to see you, man, and to talk about this because it's total madness, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you think about all this?
Well, I think it's very orchestrated. It's very organized. You all got the same tents, and there's way more to the picture than most people see. I'm really excited to talk about what I've been seeing and where my perspective is on it, because it ain't just a bunch of college kids protesting against for Palestine. It's way bigger, man.
It is, and you know what? Yeah. Somebody mentioned all the signs and everything that they have look like they were professionally made. They were, and some of these people are showing up on buses, private buses. Who's paying for all that? There was a report just released earlier today, late last night, linking $900,000 to George Soros, $10,000 to the Rockefellers, and I think was it like almost 7,000 to the Pritzkers? Does that sound right?
J.B. Pritzker, the Illinois governor. Yeah, he funds a lot of this stuff.
So
the Pritzker family.
All of these people are most of Biden's top re-election campaign donors. That doesn't surprise me in the least.
How about that?
And these kids that are out here rioting, protesting on behalf of Palestine. People say the people of Palestine aren't terrorists. They're not terrorists. Well, 66% of the people of Palestine voted for the Hamas party. So obviously 66% of them have terrorist ideologies. And these kids have no idea what they're protesting right now, Jason.
Yeah, that's it. And right there's your sign when they go out and they're in an interview and they begin to see that these college kids are like, wait, what are we protesting again? Then they ask them, like, do you know how the colleges should divest? Do you know where they're? Well, I don't really know, but I saw da-da-da-da. And they're being used as pawns. They really are. And the money that you see coming in is the sign that it's orchestrated. But I think the question that's on a lot of people's minds is, why? What is in it for the people that are funding it? We look at November 4th maybe as one of the first things we think about. But, man, Ryan, I think it's way bigger than that. I think it's way more than the election. I think it goes back to Bible prophecy is what's playing out in these college kids. Is there any place in America that's more liberal and anti-God than the liberal colleges?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And another thing is all these same people who are donating to Biden's reelection are the same people who are donating to these pro-Palestine people who are out there chanting FJB, Genocide Joe. So how it's almost like these people, these donors are playing both sides of the ball. And I'm not sure what the end game is.
Yeah. So here's just quick go to something that I kind of want to point out. Open Societies Foundation, George Soros, is the first funding that we've seen that came to the colleges. They donated to organizations on the outside edges, and then they funnel it down. But obviously the signs are professional. They're coming in on buses. Half the people that are protesting on the college property don't go to the college. Half of them don't know why they're protesting. We know they were paying them $2,800 a week to spend 8 hours a day protesting. They found literature that told them how to protest, what to say, what not to say, how to act. A lot of them weren't saying nothing. They were just being total dumb and deaf when they were asked, and I'm sure their organizers told them to do that. So then you look at, now here, I don't know if anybody sees it from this angle, but think about this. You know the history of George Soros and where he came from? He was a Jew that was connected back in the Holocaust. I believe his parents died, and then he was taken under the wing by one of the Führer or something like that, one of Hitler's guys, and he was there and literally saw some of the death camps. And they've asked him, how do you feel about this? And he said, it didn't bother me at all. And the reason I bring this up is because essentially when you shout, you know, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, that is all of Israel. And it's basically an extermination of the Jews. And before I begin to...
I mean to cut you off, but what's funny is people out here protesting don't even know from what river to what sea.
Yeah,
they don't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's because they're parroting a narrative and they're being puppets, and because of their upbringing and what's happened and got them to college are the perfect... I think that's why they targeted the colleges, to make this, you know, you had the George Floyd riots, the BLMs, now they're using the college kids. These kids are the most susceptible to being manipulated and used. But back to why I see this bigger picture. So Open Societies Foundation is funding it. He hates the Jewish people. He was part of the Holocaust. And let's say that Bible prophecy is playing out. So we go back to history, a lot of the history behind this. You had a guy, I don't know the history well, but there were people that were in the Hitler organization and part of his team. One of them they called the Houthi. This guy was in, the Houthi was a huge fan of Hitler. And whenever, after the Holocaust, he was charged with war crimes, and he escaped. And he went to Lebanon. And in Lebanon, he kept working with organizations that were wanting to, he told them they should bomb the embassy. They should bomb Jerusalem. They told them they should bomb Tel Aviv. He hated them. So and then he took under his wing and began to work with this guy that is Yasser Arafat. And he was he's the one who trained and took Yasser Arafat under his wing. Yasser Arafat was one of the main guys who has been pro-Arab and Palestine, and they were helping to fund and organize the Muslim Brotherhood, all these organizations that now are Hamas, and they were part of all these other terrorist groups. They come out of the same people that were in the Hitler anti-Jew. So now we have the people shouting, free Palestine, and the people that are in Hamas, like you said, 66% of them voted for them. That same group of people were the same people that were involved in the Holocaust. And it's interesting that you still have Arabs, and Jews. You have Palestinians, and I think the picture is so much bigger. Obviously, I believe in spiritual warfare. You see something, they're being manipulated. But that's kind of the overarching view of how I see what these college campuses protests are about. They're being used and manipulated. They're also going to use it for November 4th. That's one of their goals. But I don't think now, that like I did a week ago, I thought it was all about November 4th. I think it's bigger than that. And I think it's organizations who have been wanting to wipe out the Jews, and they're still doing it.
Yeah, that's an interesting take there on that. And I you know what, I could agree with that. I think, and you know, here's the thing: 3 days after all these protests and everything started breaking out months and months ago, it took Trump 3 days to come out and talk about it, and he denounced them. It took Biden 9 weeks. Why do you think it took Joe 9 weeks to even talk about it? And then he didn't even denounce it.
Yeah, he just made some really soft statement. You know, any protest that's violent is not a protest. It's a civil he didn't use the word terrorism. This is an act of terrorism against the United States. But as I've been saying, I don't want to state this too strongly right now, but I don't know if we'll make November 4th. I would be shocked if it's Biden and Trump at November 4th. How are they going to do that? They're going to need chaos, unrest. They're going to need more division. They're going to need something that's going to allow them to do, or an election virus. You know, I call it the election virus. They're using something. And so Biden knows that these people are going to help him more than hurt him, and he can't come against Israel, but he is riding the fence, and it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. I'm telling you, it's gonna come back, because that's what he's trying to do, is ride the fence.
I believe that. And he's trying to play both sides, just like I said to his donors were trying to do. And you know what?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I'm slightly mistaken, but from what I understand, what I heard and saw this morning was that they stopped arms shipments to Israel, but they're still continuing everything for Ukraine. Why do you think that?
Wow. I didn't see that. So they stopped arms, taking arms to Israel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ryan, I think this whole thing is such an anti-American agenda. And even, let's just remove the Jewish people and Israel out of the picture. Look at what Obama did with terrorists. I mean, without going down rabbit trails, that one time on September 11th and all these other things, the things that Hillary did, all these things that I believe there's links to terrorist groups within our government. I mean, they killed Kennedy, all these things. These people are against America, and this is another part of that loop. It's hard to follow the whole story. It's so complex and so big, but they hate our Constitution and they hate Israel. You remember how mad they went when Trump made Jerusalem? What was it? I can't think of the word right now, but
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Trump went back and made Jerusalem and Israel are the connection point, embassy.
Yeah,
and they hated that.
That is, our government wanted to spend. It was like $42 billion on building a new embassy there. And Trump, being the business guy that he is, being business savvy, he went in and restored an old building for like $6 million.
Come on.
Yeah. So
that's why we love Trump.
Our government is willing to spend our money and just throw it away. Trump's actually trying to save our country money.
Yeah.
And the House just passed a bill. It's now headed to the Senate, and it would broaden federal anti-discrimination language in laws, and it would clarify what constitutes anti-Semitism. Do you know anything about this bill, and if so, what?
I have seen the bill. It's all about how you talk about. So the narrative, I haven't read it, but the narrative that's on the bill, that it's to protect from anti-Semitism, I think it is actually to begin to strip away religious freedoms. Because that would mean that a pastor, there are things in this bill, a pastor could not literally just preach, pastor, you, me, anybody, from the Bible. We couldn't go out and say, hey, here's what the Bible says, because the Bible says that the Jews killed Jesus, okay?
Yeah.
They did. So what they're doing is, in essence, protecting. And isn't that interesting that that's happening, right? Do you think it's just accidental that we have free Palestine, all these people shouting one thing, then over here we have this bill that's supposed to protect us from anti-Semitism, but it actually goes against the Word of God? I haven't followed it close enough to be an authority on it, but I'm telling you, it is just one more link in the mass confusion, and makes me, does anybody really know what's happening fully? We just know that they want chaos. They hate our Constitution. They hate God. They hate the values we've been founded on. While these people are shouting about microaggressions and pronouns, they are screaming, wipe Israel off the map. They are saying you can't use these, this bill just came out. So the same people that are the most triggered and the most worried about microaggressions are also the ones who are the most violent. They caught this girl on an interview with a professor, and she was asking questions, and he was challenging her. He said, "Do you support Hamas, or would you condemn October 7th?" She said, "I can't answer that because the feds would arrest me." That was her answer.
Wow.
And then he cornered her into this corner to where he gave her the option. You know, would you defend October 7th, or would you rather, or would you be pro? It wasn't in these terms, wiping out, you know, going against Israel. And she, in a corner, said yes, she would support violence against the Jews, against Israel. So same person that's triggered when you don't call her proper pronoun is also advocating for violence against the whole people group.
Yeah, and it's crazy, Jason. You know, I was just thinking to myself all day today about doing this interview, because the top thing that's on my mind, and I'm not sure why this is the top thing, but it is.
Okay.
It seems like every time they're trying to push a bill through, the media. Actually, let me start from the beginning here with this.
Okay.
I've been noticing that the only coverage that mainstream media has been showing is Trump, the rigged
prosecutions,
Biden Trump trials, and
so rigged,
and protests. Okay, and that's all they've been talking about. 100%. Every time there's a bill they're trying to push through, they put up distractions, and I believe that this is part of it. All they've showed 24/7, all they have shown is these protests or college campuses or interviews with Jewish students, left and right. You don't see anything else, and that's because they're pushing this bill through right now.
How about that? I think you're onto something, man. I think actually, if we can look back and look at every other crazy thing that's been happening, there's always a distraction. But what are they trying to distract us from? You know, are they trying to, you know, they're making Trump to be this terrible person with 93 indictments and these college students rising up for justice, and they have both of these, and you're right, that's all that's in the news. That's all they're talking about. So what should we really be paying attention to? Number one, what about the $93 billion and the traitor that Mike Johnson has been? You know, that's one.
Yeah.
What else are they doing? And I think that you're right. These bills, they need a distraction from these bills as they push something crazy in. That makes me even think maybe there's more to this anti-Semitism bill. I think I need to dig into that thing, because this would be the perfect opportunity for them to distract.
I do too. I really do need to look into that more. I've been so busy, I haven't had much time, but
yeah, it's tough.
I do make a promise to you and to the rest of you watching that I will look into that more, and I'll put more up about that later on as we go.
I want to just say again, what is happening with these protests is going to backfire on them. The kids, I want to mention those college kids that were holding up that flag. Did you guys see where those college kids were holding up the flag? The most white, liberal people who are scared of being proud about their patriotism, they got backed in a corner. They got forced. Their true colors came out, which were "We Love America." They were singing the national anthem and "God Bless America" later on, and now there's patriotism is coming out, and that's what I'm excited about. I think they've awakened the sleeping giant, which is middle class or upper class young kids who love this country. They love the freedoms. They're all about capitalism, but they've been afraid to say it and talk about it. But there was something about that instance where they went so far that they tore down the American flag and put up the Palestinian flag. And this is history, Ryan. Throughout history, this always happens, man. And what happened is these kids rose up, they held up this flag, and then for those of you who don't know, they did the GoFundMe, throw us a rager. I don't even know where it's at, but a couple days after they opened it, it was 400,000. Do you know what the amount is on that GoFundMe?
I don't.
Okay, but so it drew all this attention. right, to this one thing. And I saw somebody was making a meme, you know, the old Iwo Jima stat when the guys were raising the flag on Iwo Jima. It's this famous photo, and then you take the photo of those college kids holding that flag up, and it's patriotism reignited from the younger generation, and it's a flame that's gone, that's been lit, and you're not going to be able to put it out. These kids are going to end up being more pro-America, more, I don't give a dang about what you think, than anybody else. And it's because they went too far. So that's the good side, man. I'm really excited about seeing how that all is going to play out. So there's always a positive side, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And, you know, the effects of this, this whole ordeal with the war in Hamas, the funding of Israel, all these riots and protests happening across the country. You know, I actually thought what was funny, it was funny, but it was surreal. All in one location, I forget where, you had regular people like you and I out there protesting on behalf of our country with American flags. Then on the other side, you had Jewish students with the Israel flag. And then over here, you had pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist people. And they were all chanting FJB. You know, Biden, because he has been trying to walk the line on both sides, he's been trying to play both sides. It's backfired. And now everybody, pardon my language, everybody watching, everyone's pissed off at Joe for a different reason. And
well, what did they say about it takes a common enemy? Who said this? Takes a, you know, sometimes it takes a common enemy to unite a people.
Yeah.
And it ain't just Joe Biden, but it's that what he represents.
You're right. Well, that's just one instance, you know, of what I've seen. And to me, like you said, the reignition of patriotism across this country, I've seen it rise in recent weeks compared to years past. You know, what's happening right now is really bringing people to the point where they have to choose. And I've been saying for years now that a time is going to come where these people are going to have to choose and pick a side.
Yeah, I think that's a really good final topic there, is exactly that, because this is coming. I remember about 2 years ago, Dan Bongino, I was listening to him, and he said, this fight is coming to your door, and you cannot escape it. And it stuck with me. And over the last couple of years, I've seen that. And to your point, you're not going to, you know, people riding the fence, they're going to have to get off the fence. We have seen patriotism reignited. But so far, mostly it's been reignited in the conservative Christian patriot community. But when you see patriotism reignited in the upper middle class and in college kids, that's when you're truly going to see the unity of America. Because most of us agree on the fundamentals. And the fact that you have a whole group of people saying that they will not even condemn October 7th. There was a poll done, and they're saying that a lot of, what did they say? 60% of college kids think October 7th was justified. I mean, the insanity of that will unite us in a lot of ways. And so chicken's coming back home to roost. And we are seeing, I'm seeing it too across America, you know, pieces that people are coming out, they're waking up, they're recognizing this. And in this process, you know, I want to just make the point about this spiritual warfare where I was talking about Israel and Bible prophecy. We are truly in a spiritual war. You know, I do believe there is no political solution, even though I am on our central committee. I run the We the People Canton Patriot Group. I'm very involved. We're involved in an event that I just want to real quick mention as well. But at the end of the day, it's time to get right with God. It's time to get off the fence about 1 foot in, 1 foot out. For me in 2020, when COVID happened, man, I got off the fence, man. I got right with God, and I'm telling you guys, with what's coming, it's coming to your door. You're not going to be able to straddle the fence. If you don't get off the fence spiritually, then you're going to get knocked into one side or the other. That's kind of the vision I had recently, is people getting knocked off the fence. They didn't have time to pick a side anymore. It's time to get right with God. You know, I know a lot of people don't go to church. That's fine. But if you can find a family, a community to connect with, because I do believe this is just a signal of what's coming, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. Man, we just barely seen it. It's just barely started, Ryan. I'll give a shout out to my new church in Akron, Ohio. I go up there with a church full of amazing patriots. Firelands Church in Akron, Ohio. You guys can find Firelands on Facebook. But the leader of the church, he went through prepping, Trump guy, you know, he owns a business, Powers Construction. And when you find people of like mind to walk alongside and to connect with, we meet every Saturday night. Our church is actually Saturday night instead of Sunday, just because everybody's business owners, it makes more sense. But, you know, find yourself a community and connect with people, because what's coming, you're going to need it, man. You really are.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm glad that you brought that up. Jason, I spend a lot of my time trying to educate people. You know, I've had people say, quit with the scare tactics, or quit with the fear mongering. That's not what it is. I want my neighbors, I want my friends, I want my family, I want the people of our country to be prepared and not dead. I want them to survive and not die. I want people to learn what's going on, to educate themselves, or to be educated and actually be willing to learn what's going on with an open mind and see things from both angles. One thing I like to do is I like to show both sides of stuff. You know, many conservative outlets and many liberal outlets, mostly all of them,
Fox News.
They only show you one side. You know, I try to show both sides. Like, I've been showing all this these pro-Hamas protests that are happening at college campuses. But I just showed yesterday, whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant. I just showed yesterday a White Lives Matter protest that some white nationalists were having in Pennsylvania. I want to show both sides of the
let people make up their mind.
They were doing that in Scranton, Pennsylvania, right in Joe Biden's backyard. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I did see that. Yeah. That's a great point, because people are smart. And I'll say this: I grew up very religious. Religion often doesn't want you to see two sides either. It's very controlling. They don't want you to see. They want to hide you away. And what I'm talking about when I talk about getting right with God is not even about going to church. It's about community. It's about understanding that we're in a spiritual war, and you can see both sides. You can look at both sides, and then you can determine for yourself, because because you have connection with God. You know where you're going, not because somebody said, or because you don't see the picture. Get out of your binocular vision, you know, see it through a spiritual lens and get ready, because we talk about it because we care. We know what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there are people in this country who think nothing can happen. They don't think anything can happen here. They go to work, they wake up, they go to work, come home, and then do it all over again without a thought, without a single thought on what's going on. You know, I have people tell me when I start talking about something like this, they'll say, "Well, I'm not really political. I'm not really into politics." People don't understand. This is far beyond politics. This is far beyond political. It's now to a point where it's not political. It's depending on our lives and our freedom, the preservation of our country and our way of life and our traditions. People don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. My heart for being involved in what the example that I want to leave for people is take this political stigma off of politics and just say it's your civic duty. You know, forget about the politics. You don't have to try to get elected. You don't have to be involved in politics, but you should be involved in your school board, right? You know, you should be involved in your city council. Go to your fire department meetings. That's your civic duty, and then you know what's going on. Some of the greatest corruption is at the local level in these towns, as I know that you know. And why is it happening? Because there's no accountability, because most people are like, I don't like politics. I don't want to listen to that. You start talking about it and they cringe. They just like react. Oh, God didn't call me to this. I got friends, I love them, but man, they're terrified of these conversations. They say it gives them anxiety, it triggers them. God didn't call them there. Somebody else, this is not my lane. Dude, if you're an American citizen, it's your lane to do something, whether it's school board, fire department, city council, board of elections. You have to be involved somewhere at some level if you're paying taxes and you're an American citizen. You cannot avoid it. And what Ryan's saying, it's coming to your door. If it's coming, where we have to begin to take back these spaces and participate as patriots, God-fearing patriots. And it's a very slow, painful process for me and you to see people be this slow to engage. But I believe, unfortunately, for those of you that hear this, that say you don't like politics, it's going to maybe take a little more pain.
Yeah.
But you're going to get off the couch at some point. Whether it's now or later, you're going to end up getting off the couch, because every revolution, every country, every system, every financial system, every governmental system, it always went to that point, to where it fell apart or the people had to rise up.
You're absolutely right. And what I'm about to say is in hopes that it don't have to go that far.
Yes.
All we need to do is do something about it. Me, myself, I'm from Rayland, Ohio, eastern Ohio, along the Ohio River, in Ohio's Appalachian country. Little small town here in Rayland. I found myself complaining about literally everything in town. So then I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? Instead of being that guy to sit there and complain about everything, I'm going to get off my butt and I'm going to do something about it. I lost, but I did run for mayor. I consider it amazing. Jason, I consider it a successful run, even though I lost. I woke people up. I was a voice for people that didn't have one. Even though I lost, I'm running for council.
Okay.
Next year, and then I plan to run still simultaneously for state representative.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
Guy to do something about it. And that's what I encourage everyone else to do. If you got a complaint about the people at your board of education, run for office. If you have a complaint in council or with your local mayor's office, run for mayor, run for council, do something, attend a rally. A lot of people think that these rallies are just, people out there waving flags or, whatever. There's more to it than that. Things actually get done. We've had people at these rallies who have brought around signatures for new amendments to the Constitution in Ohio, and things of that nature. So things actually get done, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. You don't have to run for office. You don't have to even attend a rally. Just do something.
So to that point about people coming to rallies, they think it's just a bunch of rednecks holding flags. Listen, it shows support for a cause. It's very helpful to guys like me and Ryan when you come. I know Ryan has the Trump parade in September. We have an event coming up that I want to mention at some point real quick here. But when people show up, it's support not only to us organizers, but it shows the community that people care. So it is, you can't really weigh the value of being involved, because there's a lot of not direct connections that people, that it does, that is how we start, is we show up. And that's all that's required for us. It's just to show up.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. I couldn't agree more. And, for those of you watching, Jason has a paper here that he would like to let you guys know about.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So since issue 1 in November, I haven't really dug too deep into politics, but I got involved with his company, with his organization. I don't know if the camera can see, but I'll tell you what, this is shared on my Facebook, Jason Miller. This is United Sovereign Americans, is an organization that has been trying to do audits on our election system. Has nothing to do with being a sovereign citizen, okay? That's confusing to a lot of people, but we're all sovereigns, okay? So USA, go to unite4freedom.com, and you can see what they're doing. They're trying to push for audits across the United States. They're in 20 different states. But what they're doing here, here's what this, I'll just read this first. An evening for the future of America, election validity through civil rights litigation. Presentation with hors d'oeuvres, wine reception. USA CEO Molly Hornick will discuss our unique litigation strategy for securing valid elections in 2024. It is Thursday, May 16th at 6:30 to 9:30, Arrowhead Golf Club in North Canton. You can just look up Arrowhead Golf Club in North Canton. It's actually next Thursday night, and here's what we're doing. They took the voter rolls in Ohio, and they ran, so every Saturday a new set of voter rolls are uploaded. It's public information. Their cyber guys have been analyzing this data. It comes in every Saturday. They analyze it. What happened? 50 new people got added. 10 people died. 2 people changed their address. Well, they found 18,000 people that changed their date of birth.
Wow.
They found 200,000 or 300,000 people that registered to vote on a day that all the offices were closed. They found people who voted in 2 counties. They found all these errors within the voter rolls. They have 1.2 million errors in Ohio's voter rolls. And what they're saying is, Ryan, you went to vote and you voted legally. Your dog didn't vote. You voted once, right?
Yeah.
Your vote counts for 1 vote. That's all we get. But because the neighbor down the road changed his date of birth, or voted twice, or his grandma was dead and she somehow voted, or is on the voter rolls, your vote is now tainted.
Yeah.
That's civil rights violation, and that's the premise of this lawsuit. We have a lawsuit wrote up here in Ohio. We have a lawyer that is agreed to not officially take the case, but one of the top lawyers here in Ohio is looking at the case. He has agreed. We really do think he's going to take it. He wants a retainer. So what we're doing with this presentation is educating people and raising the funds. So we need to come up with some money. We got a guy from Canton who's actually the main organizer of this event. He's a Roholt Eye Institute guy. That's his business. And he's going to do a match. All money. If you go online right now to unite4freedom.com, click on the Ohio tab and donate. If you donate $100, this doctor is going to donate $100 as well.
That's amazing.
So he's doing a match. And so that's the premise of the lawsuit and what we're doing with this event. And we're really looking forward to educating people, man, and getting one last push to raise the funds, man.
You know what, Jason? I appreciate everything you do, and that's what we need to do. We need to educate the masses.
Yeah.
People could take my word or your word for it, but like I said, I encourage everyone to do your own research. That's key. Don't go out and blindly vote or blindly follow or blindly support something.
That's right.
Look it up. Do your own homework and your own research on it and come up with your own conclusion. And I almost guarantee you, like I said, you don't have to take mine or Jason's word for it. But if you do your own research, you'll probably come to the same conclusion that we have.
Yeah, stop depending on the mainstream media to tell you what to believe. America has been duped for a long time, and that's why we are in this mess that we're in. So that's why we keep telling people, get involved. Go to your city council meeting. Talk to the people that are, if you think something bad's going on, go find out. Go find out. Go show up at an event. If you don't believe what I said about 1.2 million votes on the Ohio voter roll, and by the way, I want to make this point. We're not blaming the boards of elections here in Ohio doing anything wrong. There's a lot of really great poll workers. We don't think that you guys are cheating. People take a lot of offense towards this. This is a much bigger issue. This is the voter rolls within Ohio, we believe have been somebody has gained access to the voter rolls. But if you don't believe it, come and listen and challenge Marley and go to the unite4freedom.com and watch some of the videos. Make up your own mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. I myself am willing to, anyone that is willing to get involved somehow, if you don't know how, you can reach out to me at conservativece2@gmail.com, and I will help you. If you want to run for office and you don't know how, you're tired of being that guy that just sits there complaining about it, and you want to actually do something about it, you can reach out to me, and I will. I'll help you along. I'll help you get into what you want to get into. You know, I have helped so many people. Everything from get on to county board of elections to board of education to county commissioner. I will help you take that next step if you are willing to do so.
There's so many organizations out there. I want to just quick give Moms for Liberty a shout out, because we have an organization here in Ohio, Moms for Liberty, and they're so involved in the schools. You know, find your niche and then find an organization like Moms for Liberty and go to the school board meetings with them. Go to their meetings and find out what they're doing and how they're fighting to protect your children from the horrendous materials they're allowing into these schools. But there's many organizations, like Ryan said, you can reach out to him. You can reach out to me. We'll connect you to these. And it's not like it's something you have to do 7 days a week. You go to a meeting every couple weeks. You call the school board. You email them. You show up at events. You support the cause. We have the We the People Canton group. It meets the first and third Thursday of every month. Show up at our meetings. Mulligan's Restaurant and Pub in Canton, first and third Thursday. And we've got a lot of action items. There's always something we're saying, hey, here's something that we're doing this week. You know, we're trying to raise this money. We want you to call this representative. And you can be a part of something. And I believe one of the most missing things in America is purpose. These kids got no purpose, and that's why they're doing these protests. You need purpose. Don't be a consumer. Be someone who gives. It is a valuable member of society. America has become nothing but millions of consumers, and it's disturbing. I don't want to be just a consumer. I want to be someone who's giving back, right? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And with that comes purpose. You find out what God has called you to. Man, there's no greater joy. Forget about being a consumer and go give it back, man. That gets me excited.
I completely agree, Jason. I couldn't agree more. Back to what we were originally talking about from the start was these protests across the country, this terrorism happening, these riots. A lot of people say it's a matter of time before something happens, and I believe that true. Especially with all the undocumented illegal immigrants we've allowed into our country. Millions within the last year. These people are unvetted, as we all know. They're just allowed to waltz right in and go about their merry business after they get dropped off. You know, it's not a matter of if something's going to happen in this country. It's a matter of when. God forbid. But sadly, I believe in my heart that it's a matter of time before the next 9/11 happens. And that goes right back to, I don't want to fearmonger. I want people to be prepared. Be prepared for a scenario like that. If you have to, make a bug out bag where you can just grab it and leave with food, with whatever in it. Have a plan in place for you and your family. You can't rely on complacency any longer, because a time is coming very soon where we're not going to be able to be complacent in this country. I hate to say that, and I think part of the reason we are where we're at now is because of complacency. That's why Jason and I encourage all of you to do something about it. And Jason, I know I said this about 15 minutes ago, but this is the last minute or two of this broadcast. If you have anything left at all that you need to lay out on the table, now is the time to do it.
Well, man, I guess I want to agree with you that I do think it is a matter of time before all the illegals here are something's going to happen. I have my friend Paul Schiffer has a radio show. I'll give him a shout out, 12:20 a.m. every Thursday night at 7. Last Thursday night, he had he had a guy, Nyquist, J.R. Nyquist on, and he said 250,000 Chinese military men are here now. And so definitely be prepared. But so the reason I want to give Schiffer a shout out on 12:20 a.m. is because we got to take back the airwaves. You're listening to Ryan right now, his show, and you know I've tuned out everything, including Fox News. It's alternative media. We want to take back the airwaves, and so I encourage you to find an organization, a channel, and follow it and support it. And if you can donate a couple bucks, my buddy Paul Schiffer on 12:20 a.m. He's donor funded. I fund him. My business, Clearview Windows, is helping keep that radio station on the air. So, but with a final word, I think it'd be going against my morals if I didn't just come back to this thing about the spiritual implications of where we're at in America, man. I mean, there's all this noise, all this stuff we talk about. Yes, we got to pay attention. We got to be involved. But I'm telling you, man, you, just like he talked about a bug out bag, you need to find your people, and they need to understand that we're in a spiritual war, and it's so important that you connect with other people who believe the same thing, and you find your purpose. Only God can actually lead you to where you're supposed to go. He can protect your family, and let's get back to being proud to be patriots, being proud that we believe in the God of the universe, proud that we believe Jesus Jesus came down on earth and gave his life for us so we could be saved. He put away the old law. We want to be proud that we believe these things. It's not something to hide. And so we bring back patriotism by being loud, open, and proud of the things we believe in. And I encourage people to be bold about that. So that's my final word.
Yes, sir. I absolutely agree with that, Jason. And, one last thing, I appreciate you coming on. I always do. The conversations are great. And I feel like if people actually take what we're saying and listen to it and do it, we'd be so much better off.
Yeah.
I see people all day long complaining, sitting on their couch complaining. But when there's an event or when there's a rally or when there's something that actually can be done about it, what do? They stay home on their couch. That's why I can't stress it enough and get over it enough how people need to do something about it. But Jason, I appreciate your time and I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.